Oh, hello there. It's Mrs. Davis here. Nice to see you. I am your mystery reader for today. And today I have chosen a story from this book here. It's called My First Nursery Stories, and it's by this person here named Tony Ross. Now this book is full of fairy tales, stories you may have already heard before, lots of them. I'm only choosing one story from here today, and the story I've decided to read today is Goldilocks and the Three Bears. Are you ready? Once upon a time, there was a little girl who had such pretty blonde hair that everyone called her Goldilocks. One day, she was walking in the woods when she came across a little house. She knocked on the door, rat-a-tat-tat. And when no one answered, she went inside. That's a bit naughty, isn't it? Now, the house belonged to a family of bears. There was a great big bear, a middle-sized bear, and a little baby bear. The great big bear had made them some porridge and poured it into 3 bowls. A great big one, a middle-sized one, and a tiny one for baby bear. The porridge had been too hot to eat, so the bears had decided to go out for a walk while it cooled down. When Goldilocks saw the 3 steaming bowls of delicious-looking porridge on the table, her tummy began to rumble. "I'll just have a little taste," she thought. "There's no one about, and I'm sure that they wouldn't mind." So, first she took a spoonful from the great big bowl. "Ugh, much too salty," she cried in disgust. Then she tried a spoonful from the middle-sized bowl. "Ooh, much too sweet," she decided. Finally, she tried the tiny bowl. "Oh, just right," she said happily, and she ate it all up. By now, Goldilocks was feeling a bit tired. Near the table, there were 3 chairs, a great big one, a middle-sized one, and a tiny one. She sat down on the great big one. "Oh, much too high," she declared, jumping down quickly. Next, she tried the middle-sized one. "Oh, much too low," she said. Finally, she tried the tiny one. "Just right," she said happily, and she sat down on it. But really, she was far too big for little baby bear's chair. The leg broke, and with a terrible crash, Goldilocks tumbled to the floor. "Oh dear." "Ah, bother," she said, and she stomped up the stairs. In the bedroom, she found 3 beds, a great big one, a middle-sized one, and a tiny one. First, she tried the great big one. Much too hard," she decided. Next, she tried the middle-sized one. "No, too soft," she declared. Finally, she tried the tiny one. "Oh, just right," she said happily, and she climbed in, pulled up the covers, and was soon fast asleep. Meanwhile, the 3 bears had returned from their walk, and they were ready for their porridge. First, the great big one looked at his bowl, and in his great big cross voice said, "Someone has been eating my porridge." Then the middle-sized one looked at her bowl and said in her middle-sized voice, "Someone has been eating my porridge." Finally, little baby bear looked at his bowl and said in his little baby voice,
Someone has been eating my porridge, and what's more, they have eaten it all up.
Then the great big bear looked at his chair and said in his great big voice, "Someone has been sitting in my chair." So the middle-sized bear went and looked at her chair and said in her middle-sized voice, "Someone has been sitting in my chair too." So little baby bear looked at his chair and said in his little baby voice,
Someone has been sitting in my chair, and what's more, they have broken it all to bits.
Poor baby bear. Then the three bears went upstairs. The great big bear looked at his rumpled bed and cried out in his great big voice, "Someone has been lying in my bed." So the middle-sized bear looked at her bed and said in her middle-sized voice, "Someone has been lying in my bed." The little baby bear looked at his bed.
Someone has been lying in my bed,
He cried,
and what's more, they are still there.
With that, Goldilocks woke up. When she saw the three cross bears looking at her, she was very frightened indeed. She raced down the stairs and out of the house and didn't stop running until she reached home. And that was the very last time that she ever ate someone else's porridge without asking them first. And that is the end of that story. I hope you enjoyed it just as much as I did. Have a lovely day.